The Lord be with you and with your spirit. This is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Glory to you, O Lord. And Jesus said to his disciples, "There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on earth the nations will be in dismay, perplexed by the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will die of fright, in anticipation of what is coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. But when these signs begin to happen, stand erect and raise your heads, because your redemption is at hand. Be aware that your hearts do not become drowsy from carousing and drunkenness and the anxieties of daily life, and that day catch you by surprise like a trap. For that day will assault everyone who lives on the face of the earth. Be vigilant at all times, and pray that you have the strength to escape the tribulations that are imminent and to stand before the Son of Man." My friends, the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. You know, we just got back from our trip to Greece and Italy, I told you about before. About 2 weeks ago we've been back, and what we did not get to, though, this time was one of my favorite places in the world, Assisi. And if you've never been to Assisi, sometime in your life you have to go. Sell your house, sell your car, sell your kids, whatever you got to do, you gotta go at some time to Assisi. 5-6 years ago, my senior Bob, Molina, and I had a chance to go, and it looks just like it did, apparently, several hundred years ago. But before you take the road that leads up to the city where St. Francis ministered, you travel through the city of Santa Maria Angelos. I think that's the name for it. In the middle of that town, there is this beautiful basilica, St. Mary of the Angels. Within this basilica is this little church. In fact, I think it's right in the center, in the center aisle and everything. It's called the Porzincola. This is the little church that Christ himself had directed St. Francis to erect and repair, reconstruct, whatever. Where from within this little church is where Francis began his community of brothers who would minister to the poor. So then eventually this basilica was built around this Porzincola. It is unbelievable to see this massive basilica with this beautiful little chapel right there in the center. But as you approach basilica, before you enter the front doors, on the right side is a large bronze plaque with several modern-day clergy, all dressed in different liturgical garbs. And they're all standing right next to each other in this line. And if you look at it, you'll see right in the center of all these figures on this plaque, you'll see Pope John Paul II. This plaque commemorates an historical event that I just completely forgot about. And when I saw the plaque, then I remembered. Back in 1986, Pope John Paul had invited leaders of various major religions to all come to Assisi and then have a conference that was designed not to try to form a singular religion by any means at all, but to celebrate the things that we all hold as sacred in order to just encourage the world to begin to pray together and not singling out all that divides us, but celebrating and sharing in all those things that unite us in so many different ways. It was the World Day of Peace. And there's Pope John Paul standing right next to the Dalai Lama, standing next to the Archbishop of Canterbury, standing next to the Archpriest of Greece, and there must have been 24 of them. And they all came to Assisi purposely because Francis simply was a man of peace. Francis came from a very wealthy family and led a rather wild life in his youth. But that life, as fun and wild and treasure-filled as it was putting his salvation in danger. And Francis knew that. So in Assisi, he embraced a life of poverty in its fullness. So much so that he then gave his life completely over to God. Embraced a life of peace. And then he served the desperate needs of the poor. And I'm telling you, as you walk through Assisi, you feel that peace. It is there. There's very little crime in Assisi, if any at all. It is safe, it is peaceful, it is inspiring to walk the steps of St. Francis and St. Clare and to be overcome with that peace that just causes you to reevaluate your own life as you walk through that town. At the time, our group was able to pray at the tomb of St. Francis. And that was my prayer. That's exactly what I prayed for. Help me, Lord, help me to put aside all of these insignificant, unnecessary, these sinful things in my life, and just help me, Lord. Help me to bring this peace home. It made all the sense in the world why Pope John Paul brought all of those people to that town. Luke's gospel takes us to the final days of Jesus' life. He has already entered the gates of Jerusalem. So he's trying to spend these final days rather quietly, just in the presence of his apostles. He knows what challenges they are going to face once he's gone to the Father. And he knows that they are human, and how easy it would be for them to just fall away from the life that he had just spent 3 years teaching them. So in these final hours, he admonishes them to stay on course, be on guard. Salvation is at stake. The life of a true disciple is a demanding one, yes, to be sure. And there's so much in this world and so much in this life that could easily bring the best disciples down. Jesus was challenging them to stay strong, stay guarded for one reason and one reason only. No one knows when this world is going to end. Even closer to them, no one knows, not one, no one knows when this life, when one's own life will end. Be vigilant. Be vigilant at all times and pray that you have the strength to escape the tribulations that are imminent and to stand secure before the Son of Man. My friends, it is now Advent. It is not the Christmas season. It is Advent, which really, quite honestly, has very little, if anything, to do with Christmas at all. We celebrate these weeks not preparing for the birth of baby Jesus. He already came. We don't spend these weeks preparing for a birthday. We spend these weeks preparing our lives for that day that we stand before God. Jesus wanted his disciples to be aware and to be vigilant and to be ready for that day. He challenges us, my friends, in the very same way. There is so much in our lives that just gets in the way. Worries about daily life, distractions from our prayer and our worship, the moral decadence that surrounds each and every one of us every single day of our lives, making it so easy for any one of us just to fall into sin daily. We must stand guard at all times, for that day that we stand before God could be today. That shooting in Paris came out of nowhere. People at a soccer game, concert, having a drink with their wife, and they died. They died out of nowhere. Tragic, sad, no warning, it just happened. And all of us remember the effects of September 11th. Advent is a challenge, my friends, a challenge to bring peace to our lives, a challenge to change in our lives what honestly needs to be changed in order to be ready to stand before God at any time. If we are honest about doing that, if we change our lives so that we are confident in our salvation, then we will be people of true peace. And then new life will be assured whenever that day comes, even if that day is today. I wish you all God's peace.